This is the plaintiff, Benjamin Chase. He says he cut the defendant's lawn at two of his properties for an entire summer season. Now the guy won't pay him for his services. He works hard for his money and refuses to be ripped off by the likes of the defendant. So he's suing for the $520 he's rightfully owed. This is the defendant, Larry Michelson. He says he was dissatisfied with the job the plaintiff did, and he let him know it. The guy's also overcharging him from what was agreed upon, and he won't be taken advantage of by anyone. He's accused of trimming a guy where it hurts. The defendant has filed a countersuit for $1,500 for harassment, breaking an agreement, and a frivolous lawsuit.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket, the plaintiff says that he cut the defendant's grass for a whole summer and the guy hasn't paid him anything. But the defendant says the plaintiff did a horrible job. He let him know it and will not pay for inferior work. It's the case of ignorance of the lawn is no excuse.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Chase, what brings you to court?
So I provided lawn care services for Mr. Michelson for two of his homes from May through November of 2020, and I'm suing for the billing period of July through November of 2020 for $420.
Well, how was it how many times a week would you go out there?
He instructed me in a letter to come twice a month, so every 2 weeks. And that is what I stuck with for the season, from the rest of the season.
And then what did you do? You didn't submit a bill for May, June, July, August, September, October, November. You submitted like the entire bill in November?
No. So what I do is I bill my clients halfway through the season. So May through July, I billed Mr. Michelson in July, and then I bill my clients at the end of the season. So I billed them in November. Most of my clients sign on in March, so March through July, March the halfway point. Mr. Michelson signed on with me in May, so it wasn't as long of a period, but that's customary to what I do.
Right. Can I ask you, because I've always wondered about that, why do people do that? Like, what is the advantage? That you don't have to go through billing every month? Because I'm wondering how you eat, if you wait a whole quarter to do the billing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just wondering, what is the advantage?
I mean, I don't need the money right away. I'm currently a senior in high school, so I'm just doing this for, college money. But I just find it a lot easier to do two payments, one in the middle, one at the end, instead of billing every month, because I have about 100 clients. So 100 bills every month is a lot more work than just a bill in the middle.
Right. But aren't you worried that you're going to have worked for 3 whole months and not get paid? Because it's one thing to work 1 month and not get paid. It's something else to work 3 whole months and not get paid. That's not enough for the trade-off of sending bills every month, I guess.
Well, that is actually why I did it halfway through, because previously I just did a bill at the end of the season, but I said I got way more clients, so I should do it in the middle and then at the end. So that's why I did that this past summer.
Are you a high school senior right now?
Yes.
Have you applied to colleges yet?
Yes.
And where are you going?
I don't know yet, but I'm looking to do music business, and my top 2 are University of Miami or University of Southern California.
Well, I'm a graduate of the University of Miami. Yeah. I went to UM.
I'm hoping to get in there, yeah.
Yeah, the music school is excellent there. All right, Mr. Larry, what's going on here? This young man says that he worked every 2 weeks at a rate of $40, and that was what you had asked him to do. He didn't bill you until the end, so I know the bill is all of a sudden high because it's not monthly. So I understand that might be objectionable. But if the guy did the work on your homes, why shouldn't he get paid?
Absolutely, he should get paid. However, my agreement with him, I came for the bail for my house, as I have other interests, other places, and I haven't been around too much. But the day I came for the mail, I met him, and we talked briefly, and I said, if I give you my house on the Parkway, could you do any better? Would you do any better? And he said, yes. He says, I can do it for $35 each cut. And I says, that's okay. And then he said to me, well, he says, I do edging and I trim around, and okay, fine. So he began to work for me.
And then how many times a month was he wait. At that point, which is when you first meet him, I guess, how many times a month was he supposed to come? We
didn't mention that. We didn't talk about that. I let him do whatever he was supposed to do. When I got the bill the first month, my hair went up. I didn't know what to say. It was ridiculous. So I wrote him a letter, and I said, don't do any more work for me until we straighten this out. So then he said to me, well, he says, I may have done too much over there. Maybe I'll adjust the bill. So he adjusted the bill, and I said, fine, that's pretty good, and I paid him. So shortly afterwards, he asked me for another $29, which I paid him. So I said, fine. I said, as long as we agreed and everything is fine, continue to work. So I said,
right, but what were the terms now? Hold on. Since in the first contract, you left it up to him if he wants to come every day to trim, and then you realize, oh, well, that's not a good idea. Did you at any point say to him, listen, I want you to come twice a month or something like that?
I did say that. I said twice a month.
Okay, and however, I do see the letter where you say to him that the agreed upon price is $40. So why are you saying $35?
Well,
this is your letter to him.
Because I tell you, he had me all mixed up, to be very honest with you, with all the paperwork.
No, this is your letter. He's not mixing you up. You're writing the letter. This isn't his letter to you. It's your letter to.
Well, that was an error.
That's what you said.
However, I'm not going to argue over the $5. I'm not going to argue over.
Okay.
That's trivial.
Okay.
But the fact is,
okay,
now he's cutting lawns. There's no rain. You don't do that if you go over there and it doesn't need to be cut. Whether I said twice a month or not, it doesn't have to be cut. Why cut it? And then he goes over there in October and November when there's no growth to the lawn. So why go over there?
Well, did you ever tell him stop coming to? Okay, because there's hedges and there's other stuff to do. There's leaves to pick up. Did you ever cancel him?
He never. No, because I tell you, he didn't send me a bill. He sent me one bill, and then he didn't send me the other two bills at the end. Otherwise, I would have fired him. I would have canceled the situation.
Right.
But he waited until the end of the season to send me two bills. So when I saw that, I was very aggravated. And I don't want it to do any more work. As a matter of fact, he called me and he left a message. Do I want him to go over there and do any cleaning? I never answered him because he never cashed the check that I sent him, the last check. Now, why didn't he cash the check?
Wait, I'm confused. What check are we talking about? The one, Mr. Chase, are we talking about the one that he had paid originally? The original check that Mr. Larry sent you, I guess it was for $245 or something. You never cashed it?
No, I did cash that. He's referencing this check right here, which he sent to me after we both agreed to be on people's court. So I have yet to cash it because I wanted to wait and see what the court would want me to do with it. So I still have that right here.
And how much is that check for?
This is for $100.
Oh, okay. So he was trying to settle this by paying you $100. Well, the reason why he didn't cash it, Mr. Larry, is because he doesn't want to take $100. He wants the entire amount he's suing for, which is $520?
Correct.
First of all, he said
which covers, hold on, Mr. Larry, which covers from what date to what date, Mr. Chase?
That covers from July 16th through November 25th at both of his houses.
Every other week?
Yes.
And what was the agreed upon price, the $35 or the $40?
So in the beginning of the season, we agreed on $35 and $40, but after we worked out the first bill, Mr. Michelson sent me a letter, and I quote, cut the grass twice a month in each location and clean around for $40 each time, making a total of $160 for the both locations. So $40 per cut, $160 a month, and that's what I went with going forward. That letter was dated July 6th.
Okay. What's the audio that you put into evidence, Mr. Chase?
I put in a voicemail because Mr. Michelson has accused me of sending him a harassing voicemail. So I just wanted to include that. I took a copy of it as I was recording it, just so you could take a listen to it, because that's involving the counterclaim against me for harassment.
I'm sorry. Were you taping him?
No, it was a voicemail that I left for him, and I was taping
got it
as I was leaving.
I got it. Okay. Yeah, I don't need to see that. And Mr. Larry, you have a counterclaim against him for $1,500 because, according to you, he's harassing you.
I'd like to clarify something. He suggested, because of the fact he sent me a late bill, that I could give him multiple payments. And that's what I did. I gave him multiple payments. The first check I gave him was the $245, and I told him that would be in January. The second one I told him would be in February, which I gave him. And the reason that he called me so many times is that my computer was down and he was getting panicky because I didn't answer him, and I couldn't answer him on the computer. So he called me twice, once on my phone and the other one on my answering machine, because I didn't respond to him.
Is that the harassment you're talking about? Okay.
That's the
Is that the harassment?
yes. And he was
You think
threatening
that's
me
harassment?
Yes, that's harassment. He says if I don't pay him, that's going to cost me $50 and he's going to take me to court. That isn't proper.
He didn't say, if you don't pay me in a timely fashion, I'm going to break your legs. He said, if you don't pay me in a timely fashion, I'm going to go to court. That's what he's supposed to say.
But, Your Honor.
He's not supposed to say anything more than that.
But, Your Honor, he said to me I could pay him in multiple payments, and that's what I started to do. I didn't suggest that. Mr. Chase suggested, because he sent me a late bill. He said you can pay me in multiple payments, and that's what I did. So
multiple payments when?
He didn't say.
When? Whenever you feel like it? Okay.
Well,
all right. Based on, but what is so is there anything else to your harassment claim other than that he called to collect?
Roughly, from what I figure, I owe him about $190 left.
Okay. Here's where the problem lies, Mr. Chase. I realize, this is what happens if you don't bill monthly. People don't like it because now they've got to dip into their savings and pay you a chunk of money, and they're turning around and looking and trying to figure out if you did what you say you did. So it may be more convenient for you. I don't think it's a good idea. You're you're a senior in high school. You're doing this for a little extra cash. You do you, boo. I get it. But this is, like, if this were your actual business and you were running it this way, I would give you some very strong advice that you think otherwise. This is why this shouldn't happen, because this is exactly what happens, the reaction Mr. Larry's having, all right? Because he didn't remember that he hired you to do something. And your monthly bill is what he was counting on reminding him to fire you and say, it's November, I don't care about leaves, don't go. But since your monthly bill didn't remind him, and he didn't write himself a reminder, okay, now he's mad at you that he didn't tell you to stop going. Based on what I've heard on your counterclaim, Mr. Larry, 0, and on Mr. Chase's claim against you, $520. Verdict for the plaintiff.
So the plaintiff does prevail. He is going to get his $520 back from Mr. Michelson. Mr. Michelson, let me ask you a question. What do you think about the judge's decision here? You're going to have to pay him.
It's not. I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's right. I owe him around $190, and if she sat there and figured it out, it would come to that.
Let me ask you a question. We never heard whether you liked the work he did. Do you think he did a good job?
No, the work was horrible. He cut the bushes.
Why?
I was over there. The stuff was all over the bushes, all the clippings. Work was horrible.
Okay. Mr. Chase, it's interesting. We don't have many high school students filing cases in small claims court. How'd you learn to do this? What gave you the idea to do that?
Well, I filed in the small claims court where I live in Boston, and I was told by a family friend that I should file in people's court because it's faster and it's free to file. So I said, sure, what the heck, I'll do it. And well, lo and behold, here we are, and I'm very glad to get this opportunity.
Okay. Well, congratulations. You won. Good for you. All right.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
What do you think? You're very, very welcome. Harvey, what do you think about this?
Okay, Doug, well, look, the plaintiff may be young, but the plaintiff is also real smart because he brought enough evidence to win this case. And evidence is king when it comes to court. And that means you bring pictures, which he did. I mean, it's so smart that he took pictures of the freshly cut lawn. That's something that is irrefutable if the guy says he did a bad job. So if you're performing a service for somebody and if it seems like it's going well, everybody has one of these. So as long as you got one, use it and take pictures, especially if you perform a service.
Hey, judges, who said I love you first? Thanks, James.
You remember?
Yes, I do.
Who was it?
That was me.
That's right.
And guys out there, I wouldn't necessarily give this advice. I know we live in kind of a hyper-masculine world, but you got to be careful before you turn that card over and make sure you really, really feel it for that person, because, you know, if you do it too soon, the wrong moment.
How soon did you
it might
say I
spin
love
things
you?
around. You might lose out. How soon did I do it?
Or shock them? How soon did you?
Gosh, that was, you know, it was only a few weeks. I thought maybe a month or something.
Well, it was 3 weeks. We've
3
been
weeks,
dating
but you know, I really felt like I.
What was my response?
You reciprocated.
That's right.
But you know,
it may have been soon, but we both felt it.
Right.
Felt it right away. I mean, we both knew.
obviously I was attracted to you, and you know, but I really thought I'd caught lightning in a bottle this time, like more than ever in my past. And it did turn out that way, but it was the biggest part of the attraction, honestly, was probably your mind.